Well, happy Easter. Happy Easter. Thanks for coming and thanks for joining us online today. If you're watching this, you kind of have a clue what the celebration's all about, right? The Lord was born into the world, He was crucified, and today we celebrate the fact that He rose from the dead and, in effect, saving us from ourselves. I mean, that's really the miracle here. He saved us from ourselves. We had gone down a path through our own free will and got ourselves in quite a pickle where our own salvation was in jeopardy. So the Lord comes and fights off evil as a means to restore order to the world. I mean, that's really what it all boils down to. He's restoring it so that we can now freely choose whether to be good or whether to be bad. Choice is ours, and it's not taken away from us. So, as that, that's the kind of foundation to Easter. And this year, I want to focus on the signs of the believers. In the Gospel of Mark, which we're going to explore here in a minute, Jesus at the end says, "And these will be the signs that accompany those that believe." So that's what we're going to explore. And to kind of get us started on that, I want to light a candle. And this candle is very simple. It's just a birthday candle, nothing particularly special about it. And hopefully you can see that okay online. But the idea here is just a birthday candle. And this candle is going to represent our life. And, well, we see this especially these days as we're worried about global pandemics, that life can be kind of fragile, right? It can be fragile. It can be blown out in an instant. And when that candle is blown out, it doesn't relight, does it? It's just out. I mean, I could relight it, but it doesn't raise itself back up. Well, as you might expect, there are other kinds of candles in the world, and it's ones like this, where you light it. And let's see if you can kind of tell it's a special candle, because usually a little sparkle, but no, not yet. It's a kind of candle that when you blow it out, it's going to come back. Boom. And that's kind of the analogy here to what happened on Easter. We live in a world where these are the only kind of candles that there are. It's the only kind of candle we see. Your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, everybody's this kind of candle. And when this candle goes out, when their thing goes, that's the end. And we think, I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that. So when Jesus comes along and says, well, that's not actually the way it has to be. I can lay down in my own life and I can pick it right back up. This kind of candle blows your mind. Because, imagine the first time, or maybe you can remember the first time you saw this as a kid, where the candle blew out, and all of a sudden, a minute later, it came back. Oh, did I blow that out too? No, it's going to come back. It's still sparkling. But these kind of things blow your mind. And as a kid, you're trying to blow that out, blow it out, blow it out. Oh, it's taking a minute, but it's coming. It's coming. Took Jesus 3 days, right? So, they slowly come back. And the first time you see it as a kid, it just blows your mind. And you can kind of imagine going back to someone and saying, hey, can you believe what I saw? Oh, there it goes. Back as planned. But how does it change your life when you see something like that? That's what we're going to explore here. It changes your perspective on just how fragile this one is, doesn't it? It's not quite so, it's out and it's done. Because we're all actually like this candle. Yeah, Jesus rose himself in a physical form, but we all raise up like this. And how does that change your life when you suddenly realize you're not this candle, you're the one that lights up again. You raise up. Changes how you see things. And so that's why we explore in the gospel here what it says about believers and signs of believers. Let's take a look. This is from the Gospel of Mark. There's my, not this clicker, other one. The Gospel of Mark, and you can follow along. It's verses 1 through 20 we're going to do today. Now this clicker was giving me trouble earlier, but I thought I had it fixed, but apparently not. Oh, there we go. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so they might go to anoint Jesus' body. Very early on the next day of the week, just after sunrise, they were on their way to the tomb, and they asked each other, "Who will roll the stone away from the entrance of the tomb?" Not very happy today, is it? But when they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had been rolled away. And as they entered the tomb, they saw the young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. "Don't be alarmed," he said. "You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. He is risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him? But go, tell the disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you." Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. When Jesus rose early on the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had driven 7 demons. He went and told those who had been with him and who were mourning and weeping. When they heard that Jesus was alive and that she had seen him, they did not believe it. Afterward, Jesus appeared in a different form to 2 of them while they were walking in the country. These returned and reported it to the rest, but they did not believe them either. Later, Jesus appeared to the 11 as they were eating. He rebuked them for the lack of faith and their stubborn refusal to believe those who had seen him after he had risen. He said to them, "Go into the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Whoever believes," this is the part we're focusing on today, "whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will accompany those who believe. In my name they will drive out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up snakes with their hands, and when they drink deadly poison, it will not hurt them at all. They will place their hands on sick people, and they will get well." And after the Lord Jesus had spoken to them, he was taken up into heaven, and he sat at the right hand of God. Then the disciples went out and preached everywhere, and the Lord worked with them and confirmed his word by the signs that accompanied it. So there you have it. You got a list of signs here. Signs that say, all right, well, if you believe, you can do these things. So, in the new church, we look at these symbolically and say, okay, what's he really talking about? People in the world have, as we know, tried to drink deadly poison, saying they're a believer, drink the poison, and has not gone well for them. So we're trying to look at this from a different point of view and say, what is the Lord really trying to convey to us here? Well, let's go through it one by one. Driving out demons. Well, what is driving out demons? We all say, we have our own demons. Well, what are those? Those are the voices in our heads that are trying to convince us things that aren't true. Oh, nobody loves you. Nobody likes you. See that guy over there? He's looking at you. He's making a judgment on you. These kind of things. We get paranoid. We get upset. We get worried. All these demons come into our head. Well, guess what? Demons are just false beliefs of every kind. That's really what a demon is. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to give you false ideas. Well, if you're a believer, if you believe in the power of the Lord, you go, oh, look, I've seen that. I'm going to do what he says, and that's going to get rid of all this negative thoughts because I know there's a tomorrow. I know there's a resurrection. I know that keeps on coming, and I know that somebody loves me. Isn't that kind of the central theme of the Easter story as well? Somebody loves me, and he came down here to save me. So no matter whatever thoughts may come into my head, God sees value in me. That's driving out demons. Speaking in new tongues. What's that about? The Lord says you're going to speak in new tongues. Well, it's kind of what we're doing right here, isn't it? We're looking at things from a different point of view. It's not literally talking in a different language. Speaking in new tongues is understanding the Scriptures from a new church point of view. Think about that. You're going to see something deeper. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. Oh, here's my favorite one. They will pick up snakes with their hands. Oh, what would, think about snakes in Scripture. What do snakes represent? You guys know this, right? The five senses. Think of Adam and Eve and the serpent. What's he doing? He is the five senses deceiving Eve, and then therefore Adam too. So you're going to pick up snakes with your hands. You're showing you have power over the five senses. And you think about it, if you want to be a good person, I think we all have that desire to be a good person. Where does that desire come from? Does it come from outside or does it come from inside? Well, I think the desire to be a good person comes from inside. That the Lord is internally trying to motivate us and trying to get us to change. And we've got to make that internal change come all the way through to the outside. The world works differently. It says, oh, look at this. Oh, look at this shiny thing. Look at these cool toys. Look at all this money. Look at all this stuff. The world is calling to our senses. Think how good that food tasted. Oh, that was amazing. The world comes at us from the outside, and it tries to take control of the inside. The Lord's saying, no. People who follow me, they're going to pick up those snakes with their hands. We're going to have power over those snakes. The goodness, that desire, that motivation we have from the inside is going to come through, and when our senses tell us something, we're only going to listen to it if it comes from within. We're only going to listen to those senses if it's confirming something from within. We're going to pick up those snakes, and we're going to have control of it. We're going to believe what the Lord tells us to believe. And if the Lord says something, we're going to believe that over what our five senses tell us. Next time, when we drink deadly poison, it will not hurt them at all. Oh, what's deadly poison? Deadly poison is what the Lord tells us is evil using guile and deception to try to deceive us. So whenever somebody tries to put, say, thoughts in our head that try to twist the truth, it's a deceptive tactic. It's not just the same thing as a demon. A demon's just going to show you, hammer you with something, just a false belief and hammer it. Versus the deadly poison is something that kind of gets in and twists and turns you. Think about it. Here's an example of a deadly poison I could think of. What if I say to you, you're perfect just the way you are? Oh, it sounds good, doesn't it? We like hearing that. Oh, you're perfect just the way you're fantastic, you're amazing. Oh, it feels good. Give me that, it tastes good. But the reality is, it's deadly. Because if we start buying into that, we go, oh, I don't need to change. I'm perfect just the way I am. I don't need to stop being a jerk to other people. I don't need to stop, taking advantage of other people. I don't have to try to improve myself. It's a deadly poison because it just stops our whole spiritual progress. Perfect being the way you are? Oh, no. Does God love you? Yes. But are you perfect the way you are? No, we always need to improve. And we can drink all sorts of things that come in and get through our body and stop our spiritual progress. People who follow and are a believer, well, guess what? They're going to be able to have that and just eliminate it. And go, no. Someone can tell me that and they can let it feel good, but poof, I'm going to let that pass through. Deadly poisons, any sort of thing that the hell's trying to trick you to stop your spiritual progress. Another sign, last one here, the sick people, they will lay their hands on sick people and they will get well. Well, similar idea, we're talking about healing of spiritual diseases. And so when you talk about laying hands on somebody, it's transferring. And so you have this transference of the Lord's and heaven's love and wisdom onto somebody else. So you can think of it in terms of teaching and demonstrating and being a mentor. That's what laying on hands and curing someone of disease. And I started at the list of demons and I skipped over intentionally. It says, these are signs. Now notice, the Lord doesn't call these miracles. These are signs. And the Lord makes the distinction here that the reason that they're signs and not miracles is because a miracle happens when somebody doesn't believe. You go, if you go out and you see something amazing, you go, whoa, that was a miracle. And it seems like a miracle because you didn't think it was going to happen. But all these things here, these are signs to the believer. A sign meaning, you already knew it was going to happen. It's confirming of what you already knew. It's not a miracle because of course it was going to happen. It's like the sun rising up. Well, of course the Lord's going to fix that. Well, of course I'm not going to listen to that demon. Of course I can drink that poison not having. Of course I can because I believe in what the Lord taught me. I can pick up that snake, no problem. It's a sign. It's not a miracle. They're not surprised they can pick up the demon or pick up the snake or cast it. Of course I can. Of course I can. It's easy. It's easy. You come back to this candle and you light it and you think about that as you now. You think about that as you. You've seen the Lord. You've seen what He's done. And now you no longer see yourself as fragile. You no longer see life as fragile. Because even when your life blows out, you know you're going to rise back up again. You're going to rise back up again. And so with that different perspective, the whole world becomes different. Yeah, I don't believe my five senses because I know I'm going to rise back up again. I can't always see it, but I know it's true. I'm not going to listen to those demons that are telling me that nobody loves me because I know it's not true. The Lord came down on earth. He loved me. All these things. And when you think about it, when you put all of this together, put all these signs and all these understandings of it together, well, what is it showing? Notice, like to me, this is showing a good, mentally sound person. Right? The Lord didn't say the sign of those who follow me is going to be someone who volunteers in a soup kitchen. Right? They didn't say the sign of someone who follows me is someone who can solve a Rubik's Cube in 15 seconds or less. He didn't say the sign of someone who follows me is going to have the I Love Jesus t-shirt. Right? None of that kind of stuff. It's not about the external things you do, even when it is, giving money to the poor. That's not a sign. None of those things. All these things have to do with how you are inside. It's all about how do you, vet the ideas and beliefs that you believe. How do you hold the perspective of the world around you? These are the signs of a believer. And I think that's hard for us to get sometimes because we often think about signs of a believer as doing good works and devoutly studying the Bible. Well, the signs of the believer are believing the Bible's teachings in here. And when you go out and you see a person like that, what does that person look like? Are they sad and depressed as they're going through life? Something bad happens, they go, here we go again. First we had the drought, and then we had bushfires, and now we've got COVID-19. Oh, end of the world's coming. No. You can handle those things. You can cast out the demons. You can drink the deadly poison. You can do all these things, and you can keep on going. You go, you know what? Lord came for us once, saved us once. We tried to get rid of him. Keeps on coming back. He's watching out for us. He's been watching out for us for thousands and thousands of years. He's going to keep on watching after us. The signs of a believer is they're going to see the world not as fragile, but as resilient. They're going to see it as, okay, things might be weird right now, but it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. The Lord's always watching out for us. He's going to bring a good end. All those negative thoughts, I'm going to get rid of them. I know my five senses are telling me things are going weird, but I've got that snake by the hand. We've got to put us all together, and we see a happy, solid person. Confident in the Lord's ability to save us, confident in the Lord's ability to bring us out of whatever mess we get ourselves into. The world was in quite a pickle 2,000 years ago when He came into this world. Salvation was at stake. We are nowhere near that kind of condition these days. Our salvation is not at stake. It's all been done. It's been handled. All we have to do is cooperate with the process. And if we do that, everything's going to shake out just fine. for each and every one of us. So I hope you take that away for your Easter message this year, that the Lord's, He's there for you. He's on your side. He's going to get you through this. And you know what? Just like the Lord, you can rise up too. He's there watching after you. And I hope you can take that perspective out into your life and be confident, be happy, and be secure that more good things are headed your way. Thank you very much. God bless you all, and happy Easter.